what's your view on homosexuality?
Yeah, I am mindful that we're all sinners, and I caution those who may try to take the speck out of their neighbor's eye when they got a log in their own.
The great threat to civilization is that a few evil men will multiply.
It's worse than horrible because a zombie has no will of his own. You see them sometimes walking around blindly with dead eyes, following orders, not knowing what they do, not caring. You mean like Democrats?
The fact that somebody decided that they would go ahead and leak classified information.
Failure to communicate.
You can all help.
Don't wait a minute.
Yeah, you don't need papers for voting. You don't need to be a registered voter to help.
Now this is worse than a third world country.
I'm beginning to smell a big fat commie rat.
I've still not been accused of anything wrong because I haven't done anything wrong. And I'm not going to do anything wrong.
We're rich. We're filthy with dough. You're filthy without it.
Okay, this guy is the real zero.
I think there's some kind of deviated prevert.
My mission is to protect you.
You don't trust the man you're working with, you're as good as dead.
Governor Reagan again, typically, is against such a proposal.
Governor, there you go again.
Government is not the solution to our problem. Government is the problem.
Our government is too big and it spends too much.
And that, my friends, is called integrity.
You want to survive bad enough to stop me? Or are you reliant on my generosity, my love of humanity to stop me from killing you? The only thing between you and the POW camp is what you learned from me.
Any of this getting through to you, son? Be aggressive.
And there it is, brother. Not really a new beginning. It's an old beginning, but with some new, with some videos. So it's kind of like a, kind of sorta new video opening.
That's the old opening, James. I love it. It's one of the I love it. It's an art form.
It's
an
classic.
art form.
Yeah. It's definitely classic.
I'm telling you, could go on any of those other shows. You could hear their attempt to do what you do. It's just amazing what you do with that, with that computer. So namaset.
Namaset. Yes. So our plan for tonight is we're going
almost makes up. Wait a minute for one thing.
The shirt. Oh no, the microphone.
Oh yes, you have a microphone. Look at that fancy golden EIB.
I sent you a microphone.
Yes, I do.
A microphone.
Look what I got. I got this one. Again, you give me the proletariat version, and you keep the pure barrel version for you. It's got a planet looking. It's got yellow. It's got red.
Yeah,
I want you to know I'm part of the UAW now. So me and my union brothers are going to be picketing up at the headquarters over there. So you better watch out. We got union cards. We got leather coats. We're going to get, well, we don't have the leather coats yet, but we're going to be picketing you and your proletariat profligate ways.
Okay.
I mean, pure profligate ways. Okay. Union. Wearing the same shirt every day, although I got the camo on today, see? It's cold down here now. It's cold.
Yeah. No, we're gonna have to start dressing warmer. Where I'm sitting, it's a wee bit chilly.
So I think this is the way we have to go, though.
But how's that?
Camouflage underneath.
Warmer?
Yeah, camouflage underneath for official, show swag. Hawaiian shirt, but with camouflage. I think that's the new statement.
Okay. Definitely.
Of course, I only have one shirt.
I can't help you with that, brother. Sorry. Not yet. We're not at that point yet. We're not at that point.
I want the swag.
When I get swag, you'll get swag.
Yeah.
So anyway, our show for tonight, we're always looking to push back against the left. And first off, we should say, President Trump, get well soon. We're praying for you, and we want you to know that we are in your corner, and that we can't wait till you get better to kick some tail of these Democrats. Having said that, I think the plan for tonight is we're going to do a little update. We're going to talk about Pelosi. I have some information on Chris Wallace, and we're going to talk about the Democrats' manifesto. Does that sound about right, brother?
Yeah. So updates first.
So let's get rolling. First thing I wanted to bring up was, as you know, where I live is 5th District of New Jersey. We have a race going on with Josh Gottheimer, and we have he's a very strong supporter of he comes out very strongly in support of Israel and talks very well in that sense. But here's the thing I don't get. We have on the other side Frank Pallotta, who also speaks very highly and very well for Israel. And what we get right now from Joshi is that he is not coming out against this group here. This is a Jewish Dem group, which is looking to. Well, let's watch the video first.
History shows us what happens when leaders use hatred and nationalism to divide their people. As anti-Semitism and white nationalism rise to dangerous levels in America, we are all less secure. It's time to show that we've learned from the darkest moments in history. Hate doesn't stop itself. It must be stopped. Vote. Our future depends on it.
So, brother, that is a video from the Jewish Democrats. I guess it's clearly messaging that there is Donald Trump is some kind of Nazi. We've heard Joe Biden call him Goebbels, and we're going to get into this a little bit later with Chris Wallace in one of the later segments. It's just I don't see Josh coming out and this is the kind of messaging that hurts all Jewish people across the entire world, not just in New Jersey, because we know that President Trump has been fighting for Israel as well as for our foreign policy to bring peace to the Middle East, and has been instrumental in opening up diplomatic channels between the Bahrain and the UAE, United Arab Emirates, with Israel, and has actually done more in terms of peace than any president in the last 50 years. So when at least in this, especially in this region, but this guy has been nominated now 3 times for the Nobel Peace Prize, which we know is pretty much useless considering they gave Obama it 12 years ago for doing nothing. But we do recognize that it's significant that this guy, President Trump, our president, the man who has helped out Israel and been a staunch supporter, we get these Jewish Democrats who, and that's what their title is, that's what their name is for their channel. They're just, what is it, dog whistling towards the hate Antifa crowd, or the Antifa crowd, the I Hate American crowd. And to me, this is just like more of that nonsense. I still, we put it up on Facebook, and let me see if I can get it up here for you. We have this whole thing on Facebook. I don't know if you've seen it, John. Can you see it there on the screen? First of all, on a side note, to all those out there that are happy President Trump has COVID, suck a giant egg, you big fat commie rat. Which obviously you heard from the video.
From the opening.
Yes, from the opening. But we down here further we have here it is, Congressman Gottheimer. We kind of called him out. We even tagged him. No response, nothing from him, and still he's it's like he's hiding from us. It's a simple question. How come you haven't come out against it? Because he's gutless. This is another reason why we should be voting Republican across the board and get rid of these Democrats, these fake people who go around and say that they're for this or they're for that. He's not for protecting the 5th District. He's only interested in protecting himself. I mean, it's something I wish the electorate would already notice and vote this guy out. He deserves to be voted out. Having said that, I don't have anything more on Josh, but I do have some more updates. We have, I don't know if you've heard about this mail-in voting, John. Have you heard about that?
No, not at all.
So over here at the Patriot, we decided to crunch some numbers. Some of the numbers we crunched came up with, as of right now, those states that are mailing out ballots, and this is kind of leading into what you're gonna go into, but those states that are mailing out ballots and doing all mail-in balloting, they are about 119 electoral votes, and I'm going to see if I can pull up our the screen for that. I have, here is the electoral map according to 270 to win. This is this is just like their electoral map that they have on just with the knowledge that they've gained. This is as of October 3rd, yesterday, and you can see that they have Biden for the win at 278 votes, and they have Trump barely scraping through with 169 and 91 votes on the table for those that are up in the air. So we have that. We also have, let's see if I can pull up the other one, the official Ballistic Patriot map. See if that comes up. Did that pop up?
So wait a minute. They want to give. They say Ohio, North Carolina, Georgia, and Florida are too close to call.
They're saying yes. That's exactly what they're saying. Wow. Arizona as well, and
they gave Pennsylvania and to Biden already.
Right, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Michigan. Even though, John, right now in North Carolina, the Republican has contracted COVID, and the Democrat has admitted to sexting some woman who wasn't his wife. So there's some lot of things in play there that I really don't think those numbers hold up. Then there's, of course, do we really think Florida and Georgia, the way President Trump has been doing so well in those states, I don't see them not going to him because he is doing.
But you've crunched the numbers, and you have the Ballistic Patriot electoral map.
Yes, I do. Let's see if I can get that going here. Here it is. This is the official Ballistic Patriot numbers. Why not? Hey, John, if you remember what they had, this is almost the exact opposite of what they had for.
Hey, James. Why isn't this? They're only Rush makes the point. They're only suppression polls anyway. It's complete nonsense. Trump's chances of winning on the day of the election, thanks to the polls, was 3%. 97% Hillary was going to win, according to the Toilet Times and the pollsters, Nate Silverson, and all these so-called great pollsters.
Exactly, so, but if you look at my numbers, or our numbers, are almost the exact opposite of what their numbers are. We have Trump with 360. They're giving well, not exact opposite, but they're giving the win to Biden. But they only have Trump at 169. Heck, we gave Biden 178.
James, Nevada, really?
Nevada? Yeah, Nevada. Well. I decided. Well, Nevada. See, the only question, and this gets into the mail-in balloting. So, Washington, Oregon, California, Nevada, Utah, Colorado. I want to say Washington D.C. and
I think we were going to lose
Vermont.
Colorado. You might want to add that 9 in there, but
that's okay.
It's okay.
But I know, actually, I'm not sure. John, I'm willing to put money down on Colorado. I think Colorado is going to go.
Really?
Yeah, I think I'm pretty convinced that the polls out there are just not hitting home. And I say this not arrogantly. I say this very simply because I know it took a lot for me to stand up and say, I remember 4 years ago for me to say I'm a Trump supporter. It took a lot of heat that I got. I'm still getting heat from certain areas. I'm still hearing people, try to badmouth them. John, there's people on Facebook who are, friends with me, and I don't unfriend people because they're, Democrats. I like the intel, but they just want him to die. They really want President Trump to die. They're hoping that he dies. This isn't a question of karma to them. This is a way to save the nation, is the way they're looking at it. This is the kind of thing that we're fighting. And so when I say that people are afraid to speak who they're for, it's still true, like it was 4 years ago. And because the vitriol, the hatred of some of these people, that they wish he was dead. And people, I would never expect it, by the way, that they would say stuff like this. But they're just saying it'd be better for the country. We got to put the country first.
Unity.
They want to. They're
Unity.
saying they want to. Some people are saying they want to give a medal to the person that gave him COVID. This is the seriousness of the situation that we're facing in our country. Listen, I never liked Obama. I didn't like any of his policies. I was vocally against him, but I never wished death on the man. And you know what? I actually don't want him to die. I want him to be tried. I want him. I want the 10th. Swamp goes to jail. I want him to go to jail, because that's what should happen to those people. And that's what that's what the American system is, John. We don't lynch people. We don't go out there and kill them. That's wrong. What we want to do is we want to try them in a court of law. That's why it's the legal system is what's supposed to triumph in the end. The legal system, send them to jail, put them in jail, make sure they stay locked up. That's one of the problems that you and I face in this country is people who should be going to jail aren't. When we are, we're the ones who can get in trouble for doing anything. And there's this whole political elite out there that can do whatever they want and get away with it. Just like Hillary did with her damn emails, just like all the other rat bastards out there who are running around doing whatever crime that they want and getting away with it. Meanwhile, you and I, we crossed the street the wrong place, jaywalking. They're going to come after us. So, yeah, I want Trump to win. That's my numbers. That's what I'm sticking with. I'll take anybody to task on it if they want to challenge me on any of those areas, because I know, John, I've seen the Trump signs. I've seen people selling Trump signs. I'm seeing it all over. And like I said, I'm not trying to put myself into a bubble here, and I'm not sticking my head in the sand. I have been trying to find the Biden stuff. I've been trying to find it just because I want to say, where is it? Just so I know where it is and to see how big a deal it is to people. It's not. No one's buying this crap. No one's going out of his way.
You gave New Jersey to Trump.
I gave New Jersey to Trump. I did.
Well,
I could. You know why, John? I'm going to tell you why. The biggest party in New Jersey is not the Republican Party. It's not the Democratic Party. It's the independents. There are more independents in this state than there are either party. And I do believe that he will carry the state. He may not, the congressional seats, I don't know what's going to happen with them. But I do think he's going to carry the state because every freaking rally that I go to, every rally I see doesn't have the same people, John. There's not the same people there, but there are growing and growing and growing. I went over to the one in Milford in PA, and there was New Jersey people there. There was New Jersey people there getting in the crowd, wanting to show up to see Eric Trump. Eric Trump is not even the actual President Trump. It's his son. This is, waiting in line. But John,
it's not even Ivanka. It's a third-rate Trump.
But John, people were waiting in line. There was, I gave up because I had to go. The line was huge to talk to this guy, just to get a picture with him, just to get, to be there in the same area as him. I mean, this is the enthusiasm for those who are Trump supporters and don't really care what they're saying. It's out there, and we're at 19 minutes in, so I've overstepped my welcome there. So I did say, I don't have the commercial ready, but we are going to be doing. I do have the commercial ready. I do. So we're gonna switch to
the Pelosi coup.
Pelosi coup. Right after
number 84.
Number 84. Right after this.
Short commercial break. Click.
Right.
Go.
Nope. There it is.
1,
yeah, there it is.
2, 3, 4.
All right, brother.
I don't think the sound was on there, but
you're right.
Oh well. It was self-explanatory. To the part where the machine guns pop up and go.
I think you're right. I think it didn't do it. We'll do it again right now.
No. Do our version of it where the machine guns pop up and go.
Some startling facts came out. It's not just older people, to plenty of young people.
It's incredible how the
Seattle's pledged to defund its police department by 50%, even including a proposal to remove 911 dispatchers from police control.
Joe Biden said he's absolutely on board with defunding the police. Listen closely.
Yes, absolutely.
Hello, you've reached 911. I'm sorry that there is no one here to answer your emergency call, but leave a message and we'll get back to you as soon as we can.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
It's also
All right,
more
bro. There
deadly
you go. Sorry about that.
It's
You
okay.
heard that one, correct?
Yes, I liked our version better with the machine guns.
Yeah. Well, that was a pretty good one. Yeah, that would be a good one. We'll have to practice that out on the range.
All right, so we're moving on to Pelosi's coup attempt number 84. This is if
84.
this is if things go south for Archangel Trump and God decides to call him back, or it brings up the 25th Amendment. And so if he is incapacitated right now, apparently he's doing better. He did a little wave around to the crowd. He got out of the hospital. Did a little tour with in an SUV. He had his mask on, and of course, the reason why he has a mask on now is because he doesn't want to infect other people. The reason why he didn't have the mask on before is because he's brave. Not like a lot of haters want to say is he doesn't take this seriously, and they're going to try and spin this, of course, as he doesn't take this seriously. Blah 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 bullcrap. Right. Because all they do is hate. You're talking about it before. It's to hate him this much. Indicates a psychological problem or transference of hate. But really, because it's one thing when the aristo creeps, the people who think that they're so much better than all the rest of us, they want to tell us how to live our lives. In Washington, D.C., New York, hate him. And the Never Trumpers is saying. But it's another thing. When these local people that you see around here, people they have this hate. There's something missing in their lives that have this some case. Or a mental problem where they have to transfer the hate to to him. Because he's just a president. He's just a guy presiding over the office at the moment, answering the phone call. Now, so the 25th Amendment is in play. Donald Trump's gone out. He's sick. And actually, there's a long history of the suppose he goes on a ventilator, as Governor Cuomo said. Suppose he has to go on the ventilator, and he can't fulfill his responsibilities. Well, there's a long history, doing the deep dive into the 25th Amendment. There's a long history of vacancies in the vice presidency because of the number of people that have been promoted up to presidency. So, for example, I think the number 10, the ninth president, Harrison, got sick because of the inauguration. Died 30 days in, and then was replaced by Tyler, and so he became president.
Tippy Canoe
30
and
days
Tyler
in.
too, brother.
Right, Tyler became president for 30 days in, and he was president for over 3 years and 11 months, and the vacancy was to the 11th, was to the vice presidency. But all total, there's some number of vice presidents who died in office, a number of presidents who got promoted up, and even one before the 25th Amendment, two after, that resigned for an all total of 38 years where the actual vice presidency was left vacancy because the presidency, somebody has stepped in the president's shoes. The watershed moment came, of course, on November 22, 1963, when Kennedy was shot, and then LBJ stepped in as president. That horrible scene where Mrs. Kennedy, Jacqueline, standing right next to him, shell shocked, and he's sworn in on Air Force One to the presidency. But then for 1 year and 9 months, there was no vice presidency for that. Now, there was a succession law that was passed after World War II. It's the Public Act number 90 something or another that's set for succession, and that is, I don't know why they have to call the cabinet members principals, but they call them, lawyers have to keep making up these names. Set the succession as president, from as vice president, Speaker of the House, pro temp speaker, pro temp president of the Senate, Mitch, and then of course the cabinet members, the quote principals but cabinet members, and so that's been in since 1947. And of course, so once he gets sick, maybe Pence is worried about it, stepping in, but in her evil little hag way, she's counting the dollars and the drachma she can steal. Nancy Pelosi will raise her evil head if anything happens. So how could that play out? Well, can you be elected if you're dead as president? Of course you can. The election has started already, so it's too late to stop the election or start over again. And if he's say he's incapacitated, would that stop the election? No, of course not. He's president until January, and to the ceremony where he passes it on. That's part of our system and the way it's set up this way. So no matter what, the election is going to go forward, even if he's incapacitated. If he is incapacitated, the 25th Amendment set a procedure where he could send a letter to the say he's getting sick and he's too sick to carry on. Like right now, he's president. Right now, he has the football. If anything happens, he answers. Even though if he's sick and he's down, he's the one with the football right next to him, the nuclear football, ready to answer if we're attacked by nuclear weapons. So say he starts getting so sick, or he feels like he has to tap out for a moment, then he would send a letter to the Speaker of the House, and she would start doing her worship. She would worshiping to the devil by sacrificing a virgin somewhere, drinking the blood and all the rest of the stuff that she does on a regular routine instead of the regular mass. But her dark mass she would do to make sure that he dies. But he would send that letter to her and to Mitch McConnell saying, I am incapacitated for the moment. And then immediately all the presidential powers land on Pence as and they come up with the name, acting president. And so he's acting president until either he sends a letter back, a letter saying that he is the president can't continue, or the president dies, or the president wakes up and then he's better and he says, okay, sends another letter saying saying that I'm better. Now there is some wiggle room. Say enough of the cabinet and the vice president, and I have my problems with Pence, so you can't say never. Decide that he is not good enough to carry on, then they can slow it down. Pelosi could slow it down, him going back to the presidency by as much as 21 days. It would take, though, a 2/3 vote after 21 days in both the House and the Senate to remove him as president. And so you'd have to have an impeachment, which they don't have enough votes for either in the Senate. Impeachment level willingness of both houses of the Congress to not have him be president, for him not to be president. So either the default would be acting President Pence or Donald Trump back as president. So there's a limit to what she could do to effect a coup. And although she has said she would try an impeachment to slow him down, which is probably her better bet, I'm sure once she's informed, she's going to go, damn, can't get him that way either. But that's if he dies. But let's game it out. Let's game out that Trump gets sick, because now he's better. Now they've given him oxygen. He is older. Suppose he gets sick. We have 30 we have some 30 days to the election, 31 days to the election. So we have 4 weeks and 2 days to the election. What happens? We don't have the debates. Well, I'll tell you, the common wisdom would be that, we're this last month, this is when the independents go in. They're 40% are Republican, 40% are Democrat. This is when the independents. But I would say this, I would say that's not this election. I don't think there are independents in this election. I think this is the most oddball election we've had since the Civil War. And in that 20%, I think because of COVID, because of the lockdowns in particular, in response to COVID, because of the riots, that you were either on one side, the side of the angels and Donald Trump, Archangel #1, or you were on the other side. I don't think there is.
It's the reason why I think New Jersey's going to Trump is because of what they've seen in New York with the riots, what they've seen with the lockdown. I think people are pretty much fed up with it.
Well, it might be, James, as when we crunch the numbers for your case, that, like you said, the largest group are the independents. But those independents, when you really talk to them, they're really Republicans. They're just tired and afraid of saying anything about it, because then the left will apply speech codes and say, you're a racist, or you're a Russian. And because their God of the other side is government. And the guy is the other side is government. Anything that's going to challenge that, Donald Trump, and us, and us, we're owned by the government, is going to be anathema to that, and it's going to be need to put down. But let's game it out. If he goes on the ventilator, I need some more ventilators. As Governor Cuomo would cry and cry and cry, I need ventilators. If he goes. Well, how does that mean? Well, it means Trump can't go out for the rallies, which is sad, and spread his messages, and that hurts us. But it also means no tweeting. And so the mythical so-called moderates who don't exist, and I'm so sick of these quote moderates. Hey, clowns, get a clue, all right? Wake the hell up. The republic is going down. We're not going to be America anymore if these creeps are allowed to sell the country out anymore. But if that means no more tweets. He'll be unconscious, and so so there's a payoff. Really, we don't need any more rallies. We don't need any more support. We're at this point we are ready to go vote, and the voting has already started.
The voting has already started. I was going to say.
So if he does go on, God forbid, a ventilator or it becomes incapacitated, acting President Pence will step in. The ticket goes forward. Hopefully he recovers as president. And God doesn't call him back yet. But everything's in God's hands.
John, the other side of this is here he is getting this treatment. He's getting, for all intents and purposes, it's an experimental treatment for this. And if he comes out of this on the other side, having gotten better faster than anybody else, this is going to make it clear that this is something that should be used by everybody. So we're at the point now where COVID is becoming a non-player in people's lives, where the mask, you're still forcing us to wear masks. It's going to be a backlash. So,
James, everybody, okay. So literally, they want to say, oh, he didn't wear a mask. Listen, he's the president of the United States. Nobody has the security that he has. Okay, right. None. Nobody. So everybody is tested. Everybody is double checked, triple checked before they see him, and even he gets it. How does he get it? Who knows? You go out to and you touch a surface, somewhere where somebody touched it, and then you have it. So if the leader of the free world, the most protected person on the face of the planet, can get it, guess what? Unfortunately, we're all going to get it at some point.
Exactly.
And so it's not that the mask is him. It's because he's incompetent, doesn't believe in science. That's the lie that fools and little minds tell themselves so that they can go with their hate. Is the more they can with these little minds and say, oh, he doesn't work, the more it soothes them. Okay. No, it just shows you that even the most protected person on the face of the planet is going to get it. So So it was smart to close the place down till we learned how lethal it was and what groups are targeted and what measures we can take. But till the day we get ultraviolet everywhere, in planes, I think they're going to be coming out with it, and it's for sanitation purposes, and so they can use it to sanitize places at the end of the day, and you can wash your hands wash your hands by until we get some answer like that. We're all going to be subject to these microbes and these viruses and bacteria. And we got to live. You can't shut down the country forever, which Biden wants to do. I can imagine that I don't think we're going to have to invoke the 25th Amendment. I think we're going to go back to the debate on as usual. And unfortunately, some poor virgin was sacrificed so that Nancy Pelosi could drink the blood of that poor virgin. And all I got her was a few days off of the campaign, because I put that on her. I will guarantee you, she. But that's our Pelosi coup attempt number 84.
Can I go off script for just a minute? I meant to share this before during my update, but I seem to have forgotten it. It's seems to be a continuing problem of Joe Biden's that I'd like to share. It's breaking news, actually, in the sense that this came out just today, or it's been just discovered today, or been released today, whatever it may be. But I'd like to share this with you, brother.
We owe it to future generations to build back better.
We have a great opportunity to build back and build back better.
To do differently, to build back better, and to build back bolder.
And folks, it's not sufficient to build back. We have to build back better. That's what my plan is, to build back better. As bold.
So, John, once again, Joe Biden has managed to plagiarize again a British politician. He did this back in the 80s, or when he was running for president, and he did it again. And he's running as president.
We're going to have to do a show on the psychology of self-defeating acts. Because it's Andrew Klavan makes this great point. You either believe in Crime and Punishment, Dostoevsky, Shakespeare, Macbeth, out these damn spots. I can't get the blood out, right?
Yeah.
And then so that the evil that you do comes out. And that would explain why he keeps shooting himself in the foot. Or you believe in the Woody Allen version of life, where you just murder somebody and just get away with it and no problem at all, right? But that's a joke, right? And only psychopath like Stalin or somebody would actually be like that, right? So
it's just sad and pathetic. The thing is,
he does not want to be president. Ultimately, he doesn't want to be president.
He didn't write it. He had somebody else write it, and they stole it. And it's almost like whoever's writing it was like, I want to make. They're like trying out for a comedy skit. So this is their way of trying to create comedy by having a guy who's a well-known plagiarizer, or more likely, this is probably some 20-year-old who never heard of him plagiarizing the British guy back in the 80s. I mean, it's probably that. It's more likely that. They just never heard that he had plagiarized before because they weren't around when it happened. It's just hilarious. So now let's talk about Chris Wallace, John. Let me preface this. As Chris Wallace is as you know, the Fox Sunday News guy, and he does the show over there. He was most recently the debate moderator for the Trump-Biden debate this last week, and I've watched him progressively come more and more to the left in his approach to different things. And I'll bring up one before I dive into the video here. The one incident that I can remember is he has Steve Mnuchin on his scheduled, like sitting in like he's on the screen or going to be on the screen. He says, we'll be talking to Steve Mnuchin in a minute, but first let's get an update from the White House. So he goes to the White House guy, and the White House guy goes on and on about how President President Trump has sent Mnuchin over to Pelosi, and Pelosi's not willing to talk to him. It's going back about a month now, and going on and on. The guy, the White House correspondent is basically saying Pelosi's refusing to talk, and Mnuchin is saying she's refusing to talk. So, what's the first question that Mnuchin gets asked by Chris Wallace? Well,
why are you talking to Nancy?
yeah. It's like there's that would be at least on target. He talks about something completely unconnected that has nothing to do even with what Steve Mnuchin does, and is like about I think it was about somebody. Oh, I remember now. It was about the president's niece, is her book or something like that. The book that she put out that was slamming Trump. It goes on. So what does President Trump think about his niece writing this book? Are you kidding me? You got the guy who just was the headliner,
Treasury Secretary. The guy's in charge of Treasury.
The headliner of the subject.
Who has nothing to do with the campaign or anything. He's a very liberal guy too.
Yeah. And it blows my mind. I mean, he has the guy he should be asking. So why do you think Nancy Pelosi isn't willing to talk to you? Because that was just a White House correspondent's statement about it. And I mean, I was like, I thought I was in Twilight Zone. So I'm not surprised that what I'm going to report to you right now happened the way it did. So I'm going to stop and start this tape as we go. So here we go. Let's see if we can make this happen.
But are you willing tonight to condemn white supremacists and militia groups and to say that they need to stand down and not add to the violence in a number of these cities, as we saw in Kenosha and as we've seen in Portland? Are you prepared to specifically?
So you just heard that's from the debate from this last week. Tuesday. Yep.
We condemn in the strongest possible terms this egregious display of hatred, bigotry, and violence. It has no place in America. Racism is evil, and those who cause violence in its name are criminals and thugs, including the KKK, neo-Nazis, white supremacists, and other hate groups that are repugnant to everything we hold dear as Americans.
Now, supposedly Chris Wallace is a serious journalist. Supposedly he is somebody who is actually doing the research on his own and not depending on some flack or getting his information from some other news guy who's not doing the job and not reliable. Supposedly that's the case. Because, I mean, John, he is the headliner for this show, that Fox puts out. He is one of the top guys. He got the moderator job, not because of his good looks. We know that. But we understand that supposedly he's supposed to be a serious guy on this. And yet the two clips you saw, the one from Tuesday night and the one from the 17th, that clearly identifies the president has spoken clearly about that on what his position is. And all that, and remember the rest of the quote from that night is it was Biden's statement. He didn't call out Biden and say, Mr. Biden, I've seen his tape. I've asked this man this question before, and he has said quite clearly that he is against it. Why would you continue this easy lie? I mean, it's easy to say it's a lie. There's plenty of documentation. But no, I think what we see is really what Chris Wallace is more related to his father's approach. And there's another minute here or so. So I'll let this play out because this is just as key.
You're changing culture, and you had people, and I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis and the white nationalists because they should be condemned totally. But you had many people in that group other than neo-Nazis and white nationalists, okay? And the press has treated them absolutely unfairly. Now, in the other group also, you had some fine people, but you also had troublemakers, and you see them come with the black outfits and with the helmets and with the baseball bats. You had a lot of bad people in the other group.
So again, more information, President Trump laying it out, and the lie that the left likes to say, Biden included. It's clear. But John, just to make a better understanding of how unserious we can say now for sure Chris Wallace is. You look at what is coming up here, and you got to say there's, Chris Wallace asked this question on Tuesday night. I wonder if he ever asked this question before.
What are your views on the Ku Klux Klan and white supremacists?
I totally disavow the Ku Klux Klan. I totally disavow David Duke. I've been doing it now for 2 weeks. You're probably about the 18th person that's asked me the question.
Absolutely ridiculous, John. Absolutely.
What time was that? When was that, James? Is that in the future?
That was 2016, back in March of 2016 when Chris Wallace was.
Wait, that had to be. That was a different Chris Wallace.
Yeah, March 3rd, 2016. Chris Wallace, the past Chris Wallace.
Was that somebody maybe like wearing a Chris Wallace disguise? How could he forget that he asked that question already 4 years earlier in a presidential campaign?
But you would think that if he was a serious reporter and a serious journalist, that he would have bothered to check at some other point and find out if anybody has ever asked him this question before, and if he has ever answered it. If he's ever answered it at any point in time, that's what a serious reporter would have done. Somebody who did their homework, someone who's prepared for their job, and someone who knows what they're doing. So I would have to say Chris Wallace has fallen into the same trap that his father so often did. That's right, Mike Wallace. When he shows his true leftist colors, and as we said, John, for the debate, we said Ballistic Patriot said that he did more work for Joe Biden than Joe Biden did. Chris Wallace, that is. Chris Wallace did more work for Joe Biden than Joe Biden did.
Jake, are you saying that he's really a Democratic operative?
I'm saying
who is trying to cover up the biggest lie that Biden and the Biden campaign has promulgated for all the dumb people and all the people not paying attention, just to call Trump a racist, even though he wasn't a racist.
Exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying, John. He's a leftist.
Opposition research project because Donald Trump, when they first came down the escalator, he pulled so high among blacks and women, so that the Clinton campaign had to begin propaganda. And so this was one of the ways that they attacked him as a racist, although he spent the last 40 years doing the exact opposite of that, making the Key Largo to all sexes and genders and races, making his business is running it as anti-racist as you could, getting the awards with Rosa Parks and Muhammad Ali. Is that what you're saying?
That's exactly what I'm saying, John. So this guy, Chris Wallace is demonstrated once again why we can't trust the media. He's demonstrated once again why he's a hack. And just because you're from Fox doesn't mean you're not a hack. And there you go. In fact, I would say, John, that remember a few weeks ago when there was that discussion when we were talking about the lie about President Trump calling veterans and the soldiers who had died, calling them losers. And, that lie.
Anonymous sources.
Yeah, the anonymous source. And that the Fox came up with people who, were willing to back up and had, thought the resources were reliable. And I bet you it was Chris Wallace. Chris Wallace was their Fox contact.
That would make sense.
He's the guy who said, yeah, I checked out those sources. They're legit. I'm sure it was Chris Wallace who said that. So,
well, James, we're going to have to do the deeper research on him and get what a traitor his father is, because that moment it's memorized in that Harvard debating society, whatever the hell it was. It's stunning. It's stunning with Peter Jennings, but maybe that's for a different show.
That's for a different show. We're at 49 minutes now, brother.
All right. Time for the Trump contract extension.
The
other side of it.
Yeah, let's do the other side, the manifesto.
The Biden manifesto, the Democrat Communist Manifesto. So
yes, just to be clear, just to give everyone, last week's show we had the total review of President Trump President Trump's what is it, John? You called it recontracting?
That's the Trump contract extension.
Contract extension. So we went through the 10 things that were President Trump's 10 things that he was doing his contract extension. You can find that on our YouTube channel. You can also find that on our Facebook page, which, by the way, you should like. And if you haven't told your friends, you should tell your friends about. And it's Ballistic Patriot and Ballistic Patriot channel for YouTube. Go on, brother.
Reason why Trump would have a contract is because he is an American. And as an American, he knows the business of America's business. And he's a businessman. And proving once again that Cincinnati's like he could step in, any American step in and be a president. He's done an unbelievably good job. But he is a contract extension. Says, well, what were the things he's going to do for the next 4 years? So we went over that last week. But this episode is for the Communist Democrat manifesto. This is if Biden gets in. Now Biden, they don't look at it as an American, as a Cincinnati coming in off the field to do his job, save the Republic, and going back to his field. No. Biden, of course, is a swamp creature. He believes that they've been ordained, these aristocrats, as we call them, to tell us all how to live our lives. He's been doing it for 47 years. So this is just one more gig for him of the ruling class, which is what they view themselves as. So when he would go in as president, it won't be a contract, it won't be a presider, it will be as wannabe dictator for life if I can get away with it. This is how I destroy the country. The Communist Manifesto, the Democrat Communist Manifesto. These are the 10 things if Biden wins. Okay, number 1, Beto O'Rourke steals and takes away all your AR-15s and guns. Bingo, right? Remember Beto, fresh off the crew from rowing across the Rio and changing his name to Beto so he sounds like a Mexican and he can run. That creep would be back in charge of gun policy, and he's going to take away all AR-15s. Well, he says he is. I don't know how that's going to end. But that's what he says. Number 1. Number 2, foreign wars will be back. All the neocons went over to the Dems now, and that moron Billy Crystal, not the smart comedian, but the idiot with the Weekly Standard. All those idiots are just booking for more wars. So Afghanistan, Syria, they're already got Syria signed up for Middle East War number 3. Will be back. So there'll be foreign wars will be back. Number 3 on the Communist Manifesto, Green New Deal will be back. Now he says he's the Democrat Party now, but he's already gone again. He's flip-flopped so many times on fracking. But the idea that that the Green New Deal won't be coming back, meaning that they will stop the fracking, they will stop the Americans now is the oil producer of the world again, because the old wells in Texas had like we only took the top third of it. With fracking, they can get another third out of all the Texas wells. So we are now at sideways drilling. So we are now exploiting all the Texas wells, and America is the number 1 exporter of oil now, producer of oil now. So the Green New Deal will be in it back. Number 4, higher taxes. I can't believe. But they want to say Trump lost the Tuesday debate, but he got good old Biden to admit higher taxes. So Miss Commie Mommy with your second SUV, better give it up, because if we do the Sweden model, then that means everybody pays taxes, and you pay 50 to 70% of taxes. So you think you're going to have a second car? No. You think you're going to go on vacation? No. It's the Commie Mommy version of taxes, meaning, we have to feel good by giving up all our money, 50% of our money, to the government, so they can give it out all to their friends. So that's number 4. Number 5, end healthcare as we know it. So it'll be just like the English healthcare, meaning there'll be a private for the very, very rich, and then me, you, and everybody else has to use the DMV version of healthcare, meaning you still have to stand in line. So then, just like in England, you'll be standing in line. If you're a pregnant girl, they literally have people that are pregnant girls that were not seen until after they have the baby. That's the British system. So and of course it is, because the riches and the elites, the aristocrats, they still have their private health care, but everybody else gets crapacare. And so you'll have Biden crapacare, a Biden crapacare as number 5. Number 6 on the manifesto, more riots. Now that we've taken away your rights to have guns, you see the evilness of these creeps, these in these cities that want to prosecute people for defending themselves. Poor kid Kyle, Call of Duty winner number.
Kenosha Call of Duty winner
for defending
of year
himself.
2020.
For defending himself, and the McCloskeys for defending themselves. More riots, because guess what? The Antifa and Black Lives Matter have replaced the KKK as the militarized wing of the Democratic Party. It's good to have fear like that. That's number 6. Number 7, destroy the suburbs. After destroying the city, I just heard this creep on TV going, it's not, he talks about blue cities. That's un-American. That's un-American. Whoa. You morons came up with this red-blue thing anyway. And you thought it was all funny when you made the red states, because it's a communist thing, red. And we remember back in the day, we should say it should really be blue versus yellow, because they're a bunch of cowards, who can't live on their own. They have to have government telling them how to live their lives. So this number 7. So they've destroyed the cities. So we now moved on to destroy the suburbs. And the way they're going to do it is through zoning. And just like they do with the federal highway, they'll make it. You don't get any federal highway funds unless you make the speed limit 50. They will do the same thing for the zoning. It's already Trump has stopped it, but it was already Obama and Biden policy. They were trying to change the administrative law to get it in effect, making it no more single houses dwelling. So Miss Commie Mommy Suburban, with your fancy single house, guess what? They're going to have to give that up. No more of them. You are going to have to live in multi-housing. Why? Because listen, they don't want you to have your SUV. They want you to have to take public transportation. And so they will make the suburbs with big giant apartments, just housing, and yet I will guarantee you they live in their spacious big mansions, just like Al Gore and good old Obama in his Martha Vineyard's property, right? So that's number 7. Number 8, schools become re-education camps and workplaces become re-education camps. One of the things that Trump just stopped was the 1619 project, and he's fighting back with the 1776 project. Well, just like the schools have become re-education camps, as you know, and you can speak to for number 8. Workplaces are now becoming re-education camps. So you'll be re-educated at your work. You are no good. You are white. Like, what's the definition of white? You are racist because you kept slaves. Well, wait a minute. There aren't any slaves. Well, you know what I mean. You're evil because America's evil. America's evil. Slaves,
but places like China have slaves.
Right. Of course, the Uyghurs, right? Number 9 on the list. Good old Governor Northam and the culture of death wins. That means that KKK blackface nut job down in Virginia, who's the governor. And listen, there is no Republican that's in the KKK, right? But yet there is a governor in the Democratic Party who's running around, and this is his sense. We don't know if his defense to being in blackface is because he's in blackface with a guy in a KKK uniform, and his defense is, you don't know if it's me in the KKK white sheets or if I'm in blackface. That's his defense, right? So there's only one guy as a governor running around doing. Nobody in the Republican Party does that, of course, because the Democratic Party is the party of the KKK and racism. It always has been. Well, Governor Northam, who not only is it good enough to kill, it's not good enough to kill little babies as they're coming down the birth canal. He wants to kill the babies after they're born. He wants the doctor and the poor mother to have a conversation about whether the baby should live or not. So the culture of death will move on to the next level, which is if you're poor, if you're black, because let's face it, that's what the Democrats really want to do with Planned Parenthood, is kill all the black babies. It's not going to be a problem in 1930 in another 30 by 30s or 35s. Demographically, the black population is going to be reduced to the same level as the Asian population. Yeah, that's what their really goal is as they trick and fool black people to vote Democrat, is to eliminate blacks as a race in America. That will be Communist Manifesto point number 9, and of course, Communist Manifesto, Democratic Communist number 10. Hey, all those jobs that Trump brought here, Back to China.
Back to China.
Get back. NAFTA, TTP. You know, and the thing is, this is the stupidity. I mean, the fraudsters of good old Chris Wallace. Let's bring this point up. Okay, there's only one guy who actually voted.
There you are.
What? I'm back. There's only one guy who voted for NAFTA running for president right now. How come nobody brings that point up? He voted for NAFTA. He voted to sell out all our jobs, and he voted, and he was okay with it with letting China into the World Trade Organization, and he's okay with his son getting $1 billion from the Chinese and getting paid off. All of our jobs that we haven't been sold out yet to, all of the middle class has been destroyed because the working middle class, all the 3,000 mills in Washington, the state of Washington, the 3,000 cotton mills in North Carolina, the steel mills in Pennsylvania, and the steel production in Pennsylvania, all those jobs, the middle class that's been sold out for the last 40 years, thanks to the idiot Bushes and the idiot Bidens and the idiot Obamas. All those jobs, we'll go back to that, and we'll stop this evil nightmare of Trump, right? The Omega Man.
We're at just over a minute, brother.
So I can't go into it, but I'll just leave it at this. So as the Omega Man says to anybody who's willing to, when Matthias and the family comes in and they destroy his property, it says we'll and he says we'll rebuild society and to transform it, and he says build coffins. It's all you'll need.
John, I did want to tell you that there's a congressman, current congressman today, who is pushing to have the communist, the Chi-Coms, be classified as a terrorist group. So the Chinese Communist government.
About time.
Yes. So on that note, brother, we are at 1:02. So we're going to go out on this. God bless.
God bless.
And President Trump, we're waiting for you to get better, buddy.
Say your rosaries.
Say your rosaries. Yep.
We want to remind the audience to please not talk out loud. Please do not applaud. You're just wasting time.
Aye, aye. Admiral Butthead.
So don't mess with me.
I think you should let me run the country. You run CNN.
I pray for the president all the time.
Ugh, back to the lock with you, Nessie.
I've now been in 57 states.
He's what we designate as the crummy moronic type.
You didn't crawl out from under no rocks. You didn't have no tails. We didn't come from monkeys, you atheistic pinko meathead.
Donald Trump no longer has the capacity to break my heart.
I'm not pissed. You've seen me pissed. This is way, way beyond pissed.
Now it's a party! Don't try to be funny, will you, meathead?